One of the hardest parts of growth is realising not everybody can come with you. I don't mean that arrogantly, I mean it realistically. Because growth changes identity, and identity changes compatibility. Sometimes slowly, sometimes painfully. You begin valuing different things, different conversations, different environments, different habits, different emotional standards, even different forms of peace. And eventually certain dynamics stop feeling aligned with your nervous system. That can feel lonely at first, especially if you spent years adapting yourself to maintain connection. But growth often involves becoming less willing to abandon yourself for belonging. That's a massive shift. And honestly, many relationships survive on versions of you that no longer exist. The over-explainer, the rescuer, the emotionally available one, the always understanding one, the hyper-tolerant one, the version that stayed small to remain accepted. When identity changes, those dynamics get disrupted. And not everyone responds positively to that. Some people, they celebrate your growth. Some misunderstand it. Some distance themselves. Some project onto it. Some quietly resent it. Because your evolution can unintentionally confront where they currently are. That's different psychology. And this is why growth sometimes feels socially expensive. Not because you're becoming better than people, because your nervous system no longer wants the same things. You stop craving chaos. You stop chasing validation constantly. You stop forcing conversations. You stop over-explaining boundaries. You stop emotionally negotiating your worth. And honestly, that changes relationships profoundly. The interesting thing is, regulated people often become harder to manipulate emotionally. Not because they're cold, because they pause before reacting. They observe more. They abandon themselves less. And people who benefited from your previous patterns sometimes struggle with that change. Because that's real, but necessary. Because one of the deepest forms of exhaustion is maintaining relationships that require self-abandonment to sustain. Eventually, the nervous system starts resisting it. You feel it as tension, fatigue, withdrawal, emotional heaviness, internal conflict. Your body often recognizes misalignment before your mind fully admits it. That's why some relationships feel draining even when nothing happened. Your system notices. And growth often involves trusting that signal more. Not impulsively and not arrogantly, but honestly. Because peace is not just about who loves you. It's about who your nervous system can safely relax around. And that changes everything. And eventually, you stop measuring relationships only by history. You start measuring them by alignment, safety, clarity, and how your system feels after the interaction ends. That's a very different way of relating, but often a much healthier one.